travel and learn about different cultures. And here also, like you mentioned, in the States too, there's so much that can be learned from traveling and just seeing how others do it, how they live and eat, and just how they celebrate. And I think it was anytime I travel, it's just one of the highlights. It's one of the highlights of what I do, and loving what I do. It's just being able to meet different people in different places. It's a gift.
Now, how do you handle the language barrier when you go into different countries?
Well, I actually studied a lot of different languages when I was in school.
Why does this not surprise me?
Yeah. I studied Spanish and French, and I kind of taught myself German.
Oh my gosh.
And I just consider it an honor to go to a different country and try and speak the language or try and attempt to, I just think that's sort of a way of honoring the people there. So
yes, this is so true.
I can't do that with everywhere, of course, but I do try to do it for a few. So I just kind of study. I just kind of try to study and learn as many words as I can, and I try to practice. And of course, I drive my friends crazy,
Yeah.
And then also on social media like Facebook and Twitter, I try to tweet out and post things in different languages, just because. And I'm not trying to say, oh, look at me. I'm trying to communicate, and I'm trying to.
Right.
I'm just trying to connect with as many people as possible.
And that's just another reason your fans love you so much, especially from around the world, because you do put out that effort and that special little something for them that they can appreciate.
I try to celebrate their holidays.
Yeah.
It's Thanksgiving in Canada, I try to put out a nice message to them, and happy Turkey Day, and if they eat turkey on Thanksgiving, I guess they do.
Right. Yeah, I think that's pretty much anybody that celebrates Thanksgiving.
Right, yes.
Even if it's a tofu turkey.
Right, I know, I can't imagine what it tastes like. Have you ever had one of those?
I can't either.
Oh.
It was funny. I love watching Everybody Loves Raymond, and I remember Marie making a tofu turkey one time for Thanksgiving, and everybody had that look on their face when, they saw that, and then they put a piece in their mouth, and I thought, oh my gosh, that's just something I never want to try.
It's not too appetizing sounding.
No. It just kind of looks like, I don't know, a glob of something that you colored and you decorated. And that's it, So, I'm sorry. Nothing against people that eat it.
I'm sure with enough hot sauce and fixings, it comes together just fine, right?
Yeah. And I love hot sauce, so maybe that would work. I don't know.
Me too.
But unless it's ever put in front of me, I'm not going to do it.
Me too. I do. I try to communicate with the fans as much as possible. So that keeps it keeps me busy. It keeps me very busy because there's always something new to learn and some new culture or phrase or word that I can try and educate myself about.
Well, what inspired your album, Reckless Heart?
That record came together as a result of several songs. The title, the first single, Reckless Heart, was sent to me from a songwriter actually in France. And it was interesting when I heard the song for the first time. I just fell in love. I fell in love with the sound of it. It reminded me of an older country classic sound, and I immediately imagined myself singing it, and so I just kind of put that together in my mind. And I was talking to my manager, and I said, this song is really great. And when he first heard it, he was saying, oh, I don't know, I don't really like that song. And I was like, wait, no, you have to listen to it again. And it's just the way that the music comes together, and it's just the walk of the music as the music walks along, the bass line and all that. It reminded me of this classic time of older sounds, like a Patsy Cline song of style. And I fell in love with that. And so I just kind of, when putting the whole record together, that song was like the number one song, and so I just decided to name the record that, of course. Unfortunately, I have a lot of creative control with my records, so I kind of have the freedom of being able to do a lot of things that a lot of artists don't get to do. So I was able to just kind of design it however I wanted, and so I wanted that to be the title, because I think that when you think of somebody who has a reckless heart, and when you think about those lyrics, you want something, but you can't have it, but you keep wanting it. Just because you can't have it doesn't make you stop wanting it.
That's true.
And I think there's so many people that can probably relate to that. And so I just kind of wanted to put that message out there. You're not alone. It happens when you just, there's something forbidden that you would like, but you can't have it because everything in you says, no, it's not available to you, it's wrong, you can't do that, but it still doesn't stop the wanting. And, your heart is just reckless, and it needs a spanking. Bad heart. So, that was the title track, and I just kind of, and then, of course, all the other songs kind of came together because I had some other songs that I already recorded a couple of years ago that I just brought together for this record. And then there's some other tracks on the record also that are kind of that older classic sound of maybe like the 70s, like maybe a Crystal Gale or something in that era, some of the other songs on the record. And it just kind of all came together, just that collection. I was really proud of it, and I was really happy with it, and I was really, really happy with the way the fans reacted to it. And there's a song in particular on the record, You Must Think My Heart Has Swinging Doors is the name of the song. And that song went crazy over in Europe.
Yeah.
I mean, just crazy, and it just really touched them, and they were writing to me and telling me how much they liked it and how much it sounded older school country to them, and so I just knew that one had to be on this record included again. So it just kind of came together that way, and we just landed at 13 songs. And the very last song, In the Shadows of My Steeple, which is a current single we're working on, and we're working on a video also, that song is really special to me because of the whole, it's about a church, just the values and what the church means, and it's just a building, but basically it has so much more meaning than just being a building,
Right.
All the things that go on there, the weddings, the baptisms, the funerals, and just the every Sunday meeting day, and the prayer meetings and all of that. It's just so special, and all the things, if those walls could talk, so
right.
It's just that kind of a special song, and just kind of brings it all home for me in particular, for the way I grew up.
Right, and I can see that too, and it's just, a church to me is a building of peace where nobody judges you, and that
exactly.
is something that you want to have in your life because life is so crazy, and you don't really get that downtime for yourself unless you're sleeping nowadays.
Exactly, yes, and so you can go and you can be with others who feel the same way and share the same peace with you, and it's special, really special. And then there's another song on the record that I Won't Settle for Less Than You was actually the first song that I heard when I went to Nashville on my first trip there, and a bartender I met just after getting off the plane says, "You're a singer?" And I'm like, yeah, and all big-eyed and everything, and he says, "Here, this is a great song for you." And I said, I'm going to record this someday, and I'm going to put it on my record. And He's like, great, okay. And so that's the song, and so I really like that one a lot.
See, that has a special meaning to you, and I'm sure for him as well.
Yeah, very special. So.
And I think that's probably how you write most of your songs is there's some kind of meaning behind them. And when people listen to it, they find their own meanings.
Right. And that's the goal, is for the listener to come to their own meaning and what the song means for them and to them, and have some type of emotion that comes with that, you know.
Right.
So whether it's sadness or happiness, it just needs to bring about some type of emotion, and then I'm happy, and then I feel like, oh, my job is done. Yay!
Well, speaking of accomplishments, you were nominated 4 times for a Grammy. I mean, that is so huge, and I congratulate you on that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. How did you feel the very first time you heard you were nominated? I mean, was it surreal? How did that feel?
Well, after I got up off the floor and was able to stop screaming, it was very surreal for me, and I didn't really believe it at first, and then I thought about it, and I was, wow, really?
Yeah.
I was and then the other thing I thought about was, I wish that my dad could have seen that. You know, he would have been really proud, and I would have said, and then see, I didn't have to be Aretha Franklin.
I know, right?
But,
that's what I could picture going through your head too.
Yes. So I did it my way, Daddy. But it was very surreal. But mostly, I was just honored, and then I thought that I felt like my prayers kind of had been answered, because I just always prayed to God that He would help me get my music out there, and so that getting a nomination like that just sort of means that my music is getting out there and more people are hearing it and being able to experience it. So it's like an answered prayer, really.
Yeah, and also He's letting you know that you're doing what you were meant to do.
Yeah. So, and that feels really good, really, really
right.
good. So, but it was just an honor, really unbelievable honor.
You know, and I see people talk about it all the time on different shows, the Grammys, the Emmys, the Oscars, and so on, you know, that they're just so happy to even be nominated. It, of course, would be better if you win, but to be nominated with so many different people that are, you know, even you look up to.
Exactly.
That is unreal.
And being in that category, you know, being in that same category, because when you look at the list and you look down the list of names, you can see names like Faith Hill and Leah Womack, and you see these names, and these are people that you love, and you say, wow, wowee. Yeah. And it's like you said, it just sort of reassures you that you are on the path that you were destined to be on, and you just feel like you're living your passion.
Right. Now, who would you like to do a duet with?
I would like to do a duet. Well, actually, a couple of people, a couple of male vocalists, great artists. I really have always loved Vince Gill. I love his voice. I love his talent. I love his style. I would love to do a duet. Hey, Vince, if you're listening.
Yes. We'll have to tweet him the link to this interview and tell him to listen.
Exactly. And I love Phil Vassar. I've always loved him, and I love his style. And the interesting thing is, in fact, I was talking to Dawn at Jam and Jukebox about Phil Vassar over the holidays. We were talking about Phil Vassar and how his voice is so it just reminds me of my dad's voice. It's so similar in the way he plays the piano, and my dad would play the piano and just sound exactly the same. So I just kind of listen to him and just think about, you know, my dad, and I'm not trying to say, Phil Vassar reminds me of my dad. I'm just
I know.